Elaine and Marie are at the hospital to see a doctor, but the duo is having a hard time telling the doctor what exactly they've come to ask. When Elaine finally puts the words together, we're taken back to months prior, when Elaine and Marie were house hunting. With the help of an agent, Chase, Elaine is able to secure a new house in suburban France with Marie. During the house tour, Chase shows the couple the main highlight of the house. He takes them to the basement, and the couple immediately expresses how they don't really fancy basements. But Chase tells them that the highlight is not the basement, but the giant manhole on the floor. At first, the couple thinks it leads to the sewer, but Chase tells them it's a duct and asks them to come with him down the duct. The duo follows him down, and he tells them to shut the lid behind, since what he's going to show, they can only work with the lid shut. Afterward, they are all seated to discuss the house. Chase then reveals to them that the duct allows them to get 3 days younger, but in contrast to that, you jump 12 hours ahead in time. Shocked by this, Marie manages to convince Elaine to buy the house. The next thing, the couple's moving their stuff into the house. But most importantly for Marie, she's more than excited to head down the duct. On their first day at the house, Marie tries to convince Elaine to go down the duct with her, but Elaine tells her he's exhausted and asks her to go down alone. She does so anyways. I mean, they're not sure if the phenomenon Chase explained is true, but who wouldn't want to get younger if given a chance? One day, Elaine is petting the neighbor's cat, and the neighbor seems to be lamenting how her cat disappears for days and suddenly shows up when she gets worried. While they're at it, the moving company comes with the rest of their stuff. After officially moving in, Elaine invites his boss, Gerard, and his wife, Jean, to come visit the new house, but Marie isn't present because she's busy time jumping in the duct. When Jean asks after her, Elaine tells her that Marie is having a long shower inside the house. Finally, Marie comes out of the duct and hears laughter downstairs. She goes to check and realizes it's her husband's boss and his perky young wife. She says hi to them, and Jean teases her, avoiding them, but she simply says she's taking a shower. Elaine then breaks it to her that his boss actually lives nearby, so he thought he'd invite them over for dinner. Before they start to eat, Jean asks Marie when they plan to have kids, but Marie informs her that they're too old to have kids. After sharing a meal together, Jean tells them that she and Gerard have something to share with Elaine and Marie. However, Gerard is reluctant to share. Jean then tries to convince him, but he reminds her that they agreed to reveal such during coffee, not dinner. The two then get into a small argument about when to reveal what it is they're trying to reveal, but Elaine tells them to calm down. Just then, Marie comes asking, "Who wants coffee?" Talk about great timing. After the much-awaited curiosity, Jean starts to tell them, but beats around the bush about how big and shocking the news is. Fed up with the suspense, Gerard reveals to the couple that he had an electronic phallic transplant. The mood goes silent, and it's not what Gerard and Jean hoped for, but the couple seems to be in disbelief that such a procedure exists. Gerard then tells them they're too backward and don't realize that with the age of technology, a lot can be done. He then proceeds to tell them all about its cool functions and features. But for Gerard, the best part of getting that procedure done seems to be the fact that you can steer it. Funny, huh? Anyways, since they're sharing secrets, Elaine tries to tell them about the duct, but gets interrupted by Marie, who shuns him and reminds him that they're supposed to keep it between them. Bummer, but Elaine has no choice but to just let it go and not say anything about it. After everything, Elaine and Marie see them off, and Jean asks Marie to stop by her shop once in a while to get herself good lingerie. However, Marie, who sees herself as old, doesn't fancy buying those anymore. After returning to the house, Marie tries to convince Elaine to also get the procedure done, like his boss did, since Elaine has ED. She then tries to convince him to go down the duct with her, but Elaine is also against the idea, and as usual, Marie heads off on her own. The following morning, Elaine makes himself coffee and then gets ready for work. Before leaving, he goes to say goodbye to Marie but doesn't get any response. However, he informs her that he's leaving and tells her that he loves her before heading off to work. While at work, Gerard asks to see Elaine. At Gerard's office, he tells Elaine that dinner was nice and asks if he ruined anything by mentioning his implants last night. But Elaine tells him he thought it was cool and that Marie didn't get upset in the slightest. But when Gerard asks Elaine what he sincerely thinks about it, Elaine tells him that it made him wonder if all men out there can just go ahead and get the implants done. And then he asks Gerard if that doesn't give them a reason to question what the definition of a man becomes. That question seems to have spiked a slight provocation within Gerard, but they're interrupted by a call. Meanwhile, Marie is finally out of the duct. She takes a shower and goes rummaging through her things when she finds some old pictures of her younger self and suddenly feels the urge to do more time jumping. Later that night, Gerard tells Jean how he can't stop thinking about that night. He claims that he feels Marie is being pretentious and isn't impressed by his implants, but Elaine is. Jean then gets annoyed and asks him if he did the implants for Marie and Elaine or for her. So why should he care? Gerard then tells her that he did it for her and decides to let the convo end there. Back in Elaine's home, Marie, who's back from time jumping, kisses her husband who's fast asleep. Well, not anymore. But Elaine is happy to see her and tells her about the neighbor's cat that came into the house and went straight to the lid of the duct like it knew its way. He claims to have followed the cat to try and chase it out, but the cat sat on the hatch, meowing at him really loudly. Marie laughs at him and then urges him to touch her, saying she can feel the difference now that she's 9 days younger. Elaine laughs at her absurdity, which provokes Marie. She then rolls off the bed, telling him that they'll talk when she's 20. She gives him one last chance to come with her to go down the duct, but Elaine gets annoyed and promises to seal the hole if this madness continues. But Marie doesn't care. The next morning, we see that Marie has installed a mirror at the exit of the duct where she would monitor her aging process anytime she comes out. But when she looks into the mirror that morning, it's hard to tell if she's getting frustrated or more motivated to continue. Meanwhile, at work, Elaine seems to be getting even closer with his boss, who invites him for a guy's day out. They both visit a shooting range where Gerard tries to show off to Elaine about being a real man. During the process, he falls over and sustains some complications with his implants. And since he got the implants done in Japan, he has to return there to get it fixed. As a result, he tells Elaine to inform his wife, Jean, that he's out on a business trip. Oh yeah, remember Marie? She's still time jumping. And surprisingly, I think Chase wasn't lying. She picks out a rotten apple and throws it into the trash can, then goes to get their mail. On returning, she dumps the papers into the bin, only to get an idea of seeing the rotten apple. Elaine still doesn't believe she's getting any younger, so she takes the apple along with her into the duct. Meanwhile, Elaine is stuck trying to explain to Jean about Gerard going on an impromptu business trip. However, Jean doesn't believe it, as she can sense that Elaine is tense. She then reveals to him that she's not possessive and that Gerard is free to run wild with other women since they're not even married. Oh, I guess we all just assumed that they were married. Still, on that topic, Jean takes Elaine by surprise when she makes advances on him. But seeing as Elaine isn't moved by it, she apologizes. Elaine then invites her over for dinner anytime she wants before leaving. Meanwhile, Elaine is having a few troubles with some clients whom Gerard was meant to handle before the incident. He arrives home only to find a note from Marie saying, "See you tomorrow." But Elaine is confused as she spends all her time in the duct, and so he's lost time-wise at what she meant. Yeah, he still doesn't believe in any of that time jump crap Chase was talking about. While she's trying to understand, he sees the neighbor's cat and takes it to the hatch, where he places the animal. He then tries talking to the cat and asks the cat if it has anything to say about the hatch since everyone's going crazy. Later that night, Marie comes out of the duct with the apple looking fresh. She rushes to Elaine to ask him if the apple is rotten or not, and Elaine confirms that the apple is good. She then informs him that she has taken a rotten apple down the duct, and this apple happens to be that rotten apple. And again, with the aging nonsense, Marie tries to convince him that the duct does work. She even goes as far as insulting Elaine about his ED and starts yelling, causing Elaine to slap her back to her senses. She then apologizes. However, Elaine lashes out and explains to her that he has many things bothering him in life, like the troublesome client, the mortgage they took out to get the house, and how stressed he is every time he comes back from work. While he's talking, he takes a bite out of the apple to find that the insides remain rotten, with lots of ants in it. And I think we all know what this could mean. So we're back to where we initially started, with Elaine trying to ask the doctor if it's humanly possible that someone could be filled with ants and still be alive. The doctor is as confused as we are, but of course, it's not humanly possible. Later, the duo heads home with Marie upset that Elaine is trying to get in her way of attaining youth. She lets him know that when she gets younger, she wants to go into modeling and become famous. But let's face it, the fact that Marie doesn't want to accept the fact that the duct can only make you look younger and not your overall health. And with that, Marie goes insane. She returns to the duct to continue with this madness, and she doesn't even wish to talk to Elaine about anything when he tries to confront her. Anyway, let's not forget that Gerard is still in Japan. One day, while at the operating table, he calls Elaine to inform him that today is supposed to be Jean's birthday and asks Elaine to buy anything girly and take it to her. Elaine does so since he's still at the supermarket, and on his way out, he sees Chase. He then goes to confront Chase about the duct and whether it can make someone go clinically insane. Chase then asks him if he even read the terms and conditions and tells him that it does. The fact that you want to get younger can mess with your head and overall mental health, especially when the individual wants it so bad that he does nothing but keep heading in and out of the duct. Sadly, Chase can't stay long as he claims he has frozen food, so he leaves immediately. Elaine then heads to Jean's shop, but on reaching her shop, he finds Jean with another guy, making out. Meanwhile, Marie is still time jumping and constantly arguing with Elaine. Days later, Gerard finally returns. But when Elaine tries to help him start his car, the car goes ablaze. Marie keeps getting younger, and Elaine keeps fighting with her anytime she comes out of the duct and goes back in immediately. As time goes on, Gerard gets a new car and eventually gets married. But he's soon caught cheating, so he gets his car trashed by his wife. Elaine tries to seal the duct, but fails when Marie comes out to stop him. Finally, she attains the youthful look of a 19-year-old she's looking for. She heads straight to a studio to get some pictures taken. Meanwhile, Gerard tries going out with another woman, but the relationship flops on the first date. Marie, on the other hand, still keeps heading in and out of the duct. One day while she's smoking, she finds an ant on her cigarette and can't help but worry that she might be becoming like the apple. Of course, Elaine is also not happy with the fact that his wife is looking 19 and he's looking like her dad. But what choice does he have? Marie takes the studio photos to see an agent in the modeling agency, but she gets rejected. She returns home and angrily tears up all the photos. Meanwhile, Gerard goes to buy yet another vehicle. Marie goes to another agency to try out, but realizes she will have to sell her body to get in. So that's another failure as she comes home crying and mentally broken. Elaine gets fed up and goes to find Chase again. He tries to attack him for putting them in this predicament, but Chase pushes him away. Later, he starts a new hobby of fishing. On the other hand, Gerard is driving in his new car when his implant catches fire, startling him. As he tries to put out the fire, he gets distracted, and in the process, his car skids off the road as he gets into a ghastly car accident. Marie, on the other hand, still wants to go down the duct, and she tries again, yet fails to coerce Elaine into coming with her. Eventually, Marie starts acting mad, and seeing as Marie has completely lost it, Elaine calls for an ambulance to have her hospitalized. While she's away, he seals the hole permanently. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Marie is given some pills to swallow as the doctor asks her some questions, but she refuses to answer. As the doctor takes his eyes off her for a second, she hides the glass cup. After the doctor leaves, she shatters the glass and cuts her palm open with the broken glass shard to find out that just like the apple, and as her husband has speculated, she is indeed full of ants. And then there's Elaine, who has officially embraced his hobby and even got himself a dog. And this is the end. This was a recap of the 2022 black comedy movie Incredible But True, written and directed by Quentin Dupuis. It stars Elaine Chabat, Leah Drucker, Benoit Magimel, and Inès de Mostier. So who else thought that Marie took things way too far by trying to cheat her fate? And don't get me started on Gerard's dumb idea to have those implants, but we'd like to know what you guys think. So let us know in the comments below with #CinemaRecap. Until next time.